We've seen an example of non-specific repatterning. That's about dealing with all of the garbage from the past so it's not inadvertently played out again and again in the present and future. So let's move on to specific repatterning with pstek. First, let's start by defining success, because specific repatterning is about goal achievement. By success, I mean success of every kind that might be applicable to you. Success in business, success in sales, success in relationships, success as a parent, success in managing your emotions, and success with personal happiness and contentment. I mean success in getting that job, success in finding the thing you've been looking for, success in getting that Earthship project started and then finished, or whatever else you want to do. So let's just say that specific repatterning is about achieving specific outcomes by means of a simple process which has a series of steps. In other words, when I talk about success and achievement, I don't mean success and achievement as I understand it, but success and achievement as you understand it. Your understanding of success may be very different from mine. There are some things that other people consider essential that aren't important at all to me, and doubtless there are things that I want from life that other people don't. Success is as individual as the people who decide what it means to them. It might be that you've lived with some kind of problem and just want to be successful in getting around it or past it. Whatever success means to you, well, that's what I'm talking about, and that's the success this audio program is designed to help you achieve. What follows next is a very detailed but simple strategy to allow you to achieve whatever you want. In other words, as long as you follow the simple instructions, you're going to find out that you can accomplish things you never thought possible. And better than that, as long as you follow the instructions fully and completely and apply this to yourself, you'll find it's going to be much easier than you expect. When it comes to success of any kind, one thing is vital, and that's to have goals. What follows next is a description of how to do specific repatterning. Just floating along with no particular plan isn't likely to bring you the things you've always dreamed about, so you need to have at least one goal. There's nothing difficult about them. Goals are simply an imagined version of what you want to achieve. When you think about it, it's pretty obvious that no one, including you, can be successful at anything unless you work out and decide what it is you want to accomplish. The goal is the yardstick by which you measure your achievement. If, like some people, you have no idea what you really want, decide what you don't want. By noticing what you don't want and asking yourself why you don't want those things, you'll get clues as to what you do want. Most people, though, have a pretty good idea of what they'd like to achieve, in which case it's time to set goals. Now, some people set lots of goals for themselves, but too many goals can be a distraction, so I advise keeping the number small. Initially, I advise you to set just 1 or 2 goals, preferably 1. Things that you really, really want to achieve, something you can go after 100%. Now, once you achieve that, then by all means set 1 or 2 more, but keeping the number small helps to keep you focused and it makes repatterning simpler. The advantage of setting only a small number of goals is that you can focus on them 100% without being distracted by other things, and it tells your inner mind exactly what the requirement is. The real achievers in life tend to be very single-minded and to have the unshakable belief that they'll easily achieve what they want. That's why it's also important for us to work on your expectations. Remember to set your goal in some kind of context. Someone might want to build a huge business empire, but if they have a family they care about, then they'd want to make that a priority too and factor it into the goal. Being totally absorbed in business has cost more than one person their happiness in respect of broken relationships. So when I say to set a goal, I also mean to set the context in which you'll achieve it. Set goals which take into account the other things you care about. In other words, the goal should be set in the context of your wider happiness. When setting a goal, you should also decide how it relates to the other important things in your life. So the first thing to do is to decide what you want. Setting a goal is as easy as saying, what do I really want? But you also need to ask yourself, what am I prepared to do to make that goal a reality? And you should also ask yourself, what am I not prepared to do to make that goal a reality? Now, those questions provide the context in which the goal needs to be achieved. Being clear about what it is you want and what you're prepared to invest to get it is the first but the most important step. I advise you to write this down, by the way, and to be very specific. With respect to any goal, you can be as detailed as you like, as long as the goal itself is clear. If that goal doesn't engage you emotionally, then there's a problem with it. Pick goals that you really want, not goals you think other people expect. And once you know what the answer is to both of those questions, what do you want, what are you prepared to do to get it, and what are you not prepared to do to get it, then also make the decision, starting right here, right now. You're going to do what it takes to achieve your goal within those parameters. If you're not sure what your desires are, then stop the audio at this point. Have a really good think and set yourself one goal. Remember, the most important questions are, what do I really want? What am I prepared to do to make my dream a reality? The other simple and practical advice I'd like to give you about goal setting is that when you achieve it, you can always set another goal, and this means you can break a big goal down into smaller goals. Now that can make them much more achievable, and success becomes more of a habit as goals are set and achieved. As each one is achieved, it helps to motivate you to continue. Setting a goal which seems completely unattainable can be completely overwhelming, and it makes some people more inclined to give up. Let's go back to weight loss for a moment. Let's suppose someone wants to lose 8 stone in weight. If you only understand kilograms, please excuse me, I don't know what that is in kilograms. One person might be best in setting a single goal. I will lose 8 stone in weight. Other people might be more successful by breaking that down into, say, 4, 8, or even 16 smaller goals, each one for a successive weight loss. Only you can decide at what level you want to set your goals. Decide what you can achieve and set the goal at that level. Avoid setting any goal that seems completely overwhelming, and I refer back here to what I said about the idea of the impossible. Adding in use of the pstek positive in combination is particularly useful for weight loss, by the way, because of the way they work on the subconscious, changing beliefs so powerfully, as long as you go through the steps that I described earlier. And if you want to increase the speed and power of both those tools, then fine, add in the accelerators. Don't make the other audios work harder for you. But back to goals and goal setting. In the past, with regards to setting goals and setting out to achieve, many people have said that in seeking success, you need to decide exactly what you're prepared to sacrifice to get it. No, don't do it. Don't do it if you want to be successful. The idea of making sacrifices to achieve your goals is totally counterproductive. It's a dreadful way of looking at things, and it slows progress because of the way it makes you feel. Your subconscious doesn't like giving things up, remember, to which it's become attached. So never think of goal setting or achievement as requiring sacrifice. Remember, you're not sacrificing anything because you're setting out to improve your life in positive ways. Sure, yes, you're going to have to make some changes and to do something to make change happen, but remember that whatever you put into the achievement of your dreams is always an investment in a better life, an investment in yourself, your future, and your success is never a sacrifice because the whole point is to get more back in return for whatever you invest in it. What you put into reaching your goal is an investment in your future. You're not sacrificing anything at all, you're investing. Thinking about it in that way is far more likely to bring you the success you want because it sets a context in which you feel empowered rather than cheated. So set a goal you feel good about and decide what you're prepared to invest to achieve it. Taking these 2 simple steps and being absolutely clear from the outset avoids those times when one might be tempted to give up. Oh, on the subject of giving up, I'd also like to point out from my own personal experience that it's very often just after facing real and seemingly insurmountable difficulties that the most significant progress is made. My suggestion to you, and again this is from practical experience, is to consider difficulties simply as precursors to success. This is, again, is an excellent statement for use in the pstek positive. Difficulties are doorways to the success that follows. In a real sense, there's no such thing as failure. Failures are simply experiences that show you what doesn't work. Thomas Edison, the most famous and hugely successful inventor probably of all time, understood this very well. Here's what he said about the thousands of failed attempts to create the incandescent light bulb. After we had conducted thousands of experiments without solving the problem, one of my associates expressed discouragement and disgust over having failed to find out anything. I cheerily assured him that we had learned something, for we had learned for a certainty that the thing couldn't be done that way, and that we would have to try some other way. Edison's empirical approach to success was simple. There is no such thing as failure, just a learning experience. Finding out what doesn't work for you gets you closer to finding out what does, as long as you persist.